Page 186, Bagatelle. A bagatelle is just a little nothing. It's just a little thingy. It's a neat little piece of music. For Elise, Beethoven, that's a bagatelle. Yeah, it's okay. It's just a fun little thing to do. Usually they put the solo repertoire at the end of a unit or something. But here, I guess they're just sticking them wherever. I guess it's time you had another piece to play if you wanted to. And it's a fun little piece. People would enjoy hearing it, assuming you can play it well. I'm going to go through the process I use to learn a piece of music, and I'm not going to spoon feed you the notes anymore. You should know the notes in the music, the names, and you should know the names of the keys on the piano by now. But I'm still going to go through the process. So that involves looking it over. It's 2 pages long or a page and a half, however you want to look at it. Now, there's repeat signs on page 187. I'm only interested in the total amount of music I'm going to have to deal with. And clef signs, to start at least, are treble and treble. They're both treble clef. They may not stay that way, that's fine, but at least at the beginning, they're treble and treble. The key signature, there's no sharps or flats, so it's either in the key of C major or A minor. If we look at the end, bottom page once we're here, 187. It's a C chord, I'm guessing we're in C major, but do these scales and arpeggios for both C major and A minor, and at least 2 octaves up and down by now, I hope. And then 2 4-time signature, and we got 8th notes and 16th notes going crazy. All right, that's fine. We'll just break it down. 1N, 2N, or 1E-enda, 2E-enda. A lot of times on the 1E-enda, 2E-enda, I don't really count that. I think 1N, 2N, and I know there's 2 16 notes in there. You do it however works for you. Right hand first. I want a fingering that works, that lets me connect the notes. So I'll do all these staccatos and things later. And these ornaments they stick in here, I'll do those later. I'll leave them out right now. So it's starting how a 3rd finger here puts the hand here. Because it's in C major, the position is all white keys. When I get to the F sharp, I'll move my finger as necessary. So it's 1 and 2 and 1 and 2. And the 4th finger on the F, scrunch up. 1, 2. There's repeated notes. I just changed hand position. During the rest, you can come back up, or you can reach up, or you can use 5 or 4 on the first G, this measure 5. 5 or 4 on the first G, and then 3rd, because it's a repeated note. I can go 5, 2. And then cross over, 2. And I don't have to go 4 here either, because there's 2 Ds. I could go 2, because it's easier. 2, 4. Measure 9, 9. I ended measure 8 here. Then went measure 9 here. I'd rather not. I don't want to use the same finger. I mean, there's a rest. You can get away with it. You can do it. But if I don't have to, I don't want to. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reach up a little finger on the first one, and then 3. I'm going to take advantage of the repeated notes to put me in position. 5, 3. And then we're doing that. Yeah, it's the 3rd and 4th lines are almost like the same as the first 2 lines. Now measure 17 is new section. See the double bars at the end of measure 16? New section, that means probably a new melody. And now we are coming up here, and we got treble and bass clef now. Here. Thumb, that way I'm in position. Because if I do it, I gotta stretch out, which is doable. There's times when you have to do that, but we don't have to here. You can just thumb here, and then reach down, do it again. Okay. Last line, measure 29. Now measure 28, we were here. The end of the thumb, you can reach up with 3rd finger for measure 29 if you want, or like the others we've done, I can do a 5, 3, or 4, 3. However you've done the others, similar to this passage, finger this the same. Well, and then thumb. And then 1, 5, that's fine. They're repeated notes. Okay, so that's the right hand. Now the left hand, again, same thing. We got chord. You can use 4 there if you want, but that's fine. We can use 3 on both. Or I can do a 5-2 to beginning and then a 3. If you don't want to use third on both, then you can use a 2 on the white key. I'll leave that up to you and your teacher. And then measure 4, look out, there's 2 voices. That dotted quarter note is held out until you get to the rest. Rest. Both notes come up at the same time, and then you come back up and do it again. Now, you're here, if you want, for the measure 5, you can go at 3-1, 5-3. I can change on the repeated notes. However, I'm actually changing on the repeated notes in the right hand. So I think here, so I'm not moving both hands at the same time, because otherwise I'd be changing on repeated notes in both hands. I'll go ahead and just come up during the rest and stay here. I'm in position in the right hand, left hand. 5. And then at 2-3 at the end of measure 8. Connect them. Yeah. Then we do it again. Okay. Now when you get to measure 17, now we got broken chords. And you might think, wait a minute, that's a block chord. What's going on? No, the whole chord is that. So it is broken. Even though I'm not playing one note at a time all the time, it's still a broken chord because the whole chord is that. Okay. Now, last line, measure 29, we're up here. Now 3-1. So it changed hand positions on repeated notes. But I recommend a 4-1, not a 5-1. Because I need the 5 here on the next one. If I do here, I'm going to come down again. So again, measure 30 was here. Now I'm ready with here. Up here. Kind of moving around a little bit, but we're forced into it sometimes. Then I put the hands together and see what mess I've got, and I'll hesitate all over. That's fine. I don't care. I just want to see how the fingers are working together. It's here. Rest, then come back up. Anyway, you put the hands together. And then once I've done that, I'll go back over in bits and pieces. And I'll work out the hesitations. Maybe a line or 2 at a time. Now, because the first 2 lines is the same as the 3rd and 4th lines, once you got the first 2 lines done, you like got 4 lines done, automatic, because they're the same. So I work out the hesitations like in the first 2 lines. And then once I have those done, I'll set it aside. I won't play them again now for a while. I'll work on the second section, starting at measure 17, and maybe I'll take those 2 lines at a time, because the 2 lines from measure 17 through measure 24, that's a different, it's a whole different melody. But when I get to measure 25, it's like it was at the beginning again, and I can already play that. So that next to the last line on page 87, I've got it already. So I don't need to play that part right now. And I can skip down then and do the last line because it ends differently. I need to make sure I can do that. But I'm tackling it in bits and pieces. And then once I have that done and no hesitations in bits and pieces, then I go put it all together and see how it does. The hesitations will come back. Honor little devils, they will do that. When you work them out, they will occasionally come back. That's simply telling you that you haven't really worked them out yet, not thoroughly. And more hesitations will crop up. You know, it's like, what? Well, you just stop and work them out. If you let them stay, they become part of your practice. They become part of your plan. And you will always hesitate. Even when you go to perform it, you will hesitate there because you practiced it that way. Yeah. Now, once I have the hesitations gone, I'll add the articulation and the grace notes and ornaments. I'm flexing a here, button. And this grace note, real quick. It's not rhythmic. It's just a real quick note. And people don't agree on how they're interpreted. You do it the way your teacher tells you to do it. But I was taught that the grace note went on the beat. So that would be there. It happens so fast you can't really tell, but I had a teacher who was adamant about that. You do them on the beat. Other teachers, I think most teachers, actually teach where it's before the beat. So this is on the beat. However, I'm so accustomed to playing them on the beat, that's what I do, and that's what I teach. Now when you get to measure 17 here, left hand is connected, and even though they're just slurring a measure at a time, these are slurs. Connect that left hand all the way through until measure 24. It's just connected. And I am lift up. I am treating each measure here on measure 17 and 18 like a phrase. Here, lift up, lift up. Now this, that's all one phrase, but the left hand's connected. At the end, the last two measures, staccato, staccato, and then staccato accent, just playing louder. Okay. Now, as part of interpreting the music, at the end, the last measure, the second time you play it, because it's repeated, you might play longer staccatos. Not full length notes, but longer staccatos. Just let them, because you're at the end, you're done. Rather than, it's interpretation. You don't have to. You can play them short staccatos all the time. Experiment with different ways of interpreting the music. How do you feel it? However, let's get back on track because interpretation comes later. Dynamics. The melody's in the right hand throughout the whole thing. Soft. And then go back down. Land on that. Come up to about a moderately soft or so and then come back down. Don't get loud. The left hand's got to stay in the background. And measure 5, you're soft here. Now, all of a sudden you're loud, and you don't have to very loud. Loud, go up to very loud and come back down. And it's a subito thing, apparently, according to what's written. Because in measures 5 and 6, you're soft. Now, so it's like a statement reply, huh? All right. The measure 17, you're loud. This is soft. And then measure 21, you're echoing that. You do the dynamics. You have a sforzando there on measure 30. So that's you've gone up to loud here, and that's a full quarter note now. You can actually put a 2 neutral line on the finger on that, and then you loud. And the accented notes make them very loud, both hands. See, it's hard to tell sometimes what's melody and what isn't. Look at the last two measures, bottom page 87 or 187. You're here. Is all of that melody? No. The last measure, is it only the first beat that's melody and the others are afterthoughts? So, and you're done? And these other are afterthoughts? That's interpretation. The way it's written, because they add accent on those last two notes are melody. Otherwise, they wouldn't be accented. Let the wrist collapse a little bit when you do. Don't pound on it. You can use more arm on those last notes rather than using the wrist on the staccato. You can use more arm when we got to get louder. We use bigger muscles and more weight. Just let the wrist collapse a little bit, though. Don't stiffen up. And then the speed. Allegretto. Well, between moderato and allegro, sort of fast, but it's the feel of it. The beat will do whatever the beat does. I don't concern myself so much with how fast the beat is going. I want to know how fast the piece feels. The moderato to me is this. One, two. See, that's the slow moderato. That's the slow. but it's all eighth notes and things. And when you have subdivided beats like that, it slows it down. If I take a beat and I say moderato, 1, 2, 1, 2, that would be that. But to me, that feels faster than moderato. So to me, that is allegretto right there, what I just did. It's a little faster, because fast would be just, oh, forget fast. But my opinion, that's about how fast this would go. Different people will take it at different speeds. They will feel this a little bit differently, but to me, that's about what it is. Now you have repeat signs on page 187. So that second section, you play it twice. Okay, you understand that, I hope. Remember the natural accents? 1, 2. Each beat will get a little bit of an accent. Exaggerate them if you need to in there. Feel these all the way through as you're playing these pieces. Let's play this together very slowly and check the notes and the rhythms. I'm not going to do louds and softs. We're just playing notes and rhythms and staccatos and stuff. We will do the repeat, and I'll give us 2 counts because there's 2 beats in the matter. Ready, and go, and. But because there's eighth notes everywhere, I'm going to put the metronome on eighth notes. Ready, and go, and. Rest. And 2, rest. And 2, rest. 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 Repeat. And 2, and rest. Rest.